Hello parents, this is Hareem Khan of the Teachers College Reading and Writing Project, and I want to talk to you about a superpower that you possess that dramatically affects how well your child does at school. If you knew the research that connects your everyday conversation with how well your child does at school, you would never stop talking or listening to your child. But when it comes to parent-child communication, not all kinds of talk are the same. Let me explain. There's one kind of parent-child communication that we can think of as functional language, and it sounds something like this. Pick up your jacket. Hurry up and put your shoes on. We're getting late for school. Or what do you want for dinner? Or did you pack your bag? Or I asked you to shut the bathroom door. Quickly, switch off the lights. That kind of everyday basic conversation is necessary in order to get things done. And my guess is that you're probably very skilled at it already. But research shows that that's not the kind of talk that has the dramatic effects on academics in school. No, there's a different kind of talk that is separate from this more functional conversation. And it is what we can think of as creative, analytical, metaphorical talk, the kind of talk that introduces and expands upon ideas and concepts. Let me show you what I mean. You can literally think of this ladder of abstraction, which is a concept introduced by a linguist named Hayakawa. And, think of it this way. Children's early perception of the world is often here, very literal, very concrete. So for example, anything that they can see or hear or touch or feel or smell, that's easy to talk about because it's right there. This is harder. But success in school and in life requires the ability to live up here in the world of abstract concepts and abstract ideas. For example, a flower, that's down here. It's easy to talk about a flower. It's easy to say a flower is beautiful because you can see it. However, beauty as an abstract concept would live up here. A conversation about beauty being in the eyes of the beholder, that requires more conceptual, more abstract-based thinking. How do you help your child become more adept at talking about concepts and ideas? So I'm going to give you a couple of tips. And no, I'm not going to ask you to pick up a book and start reading that to your child, although that is a fantastic thing to do. No, the kind of conversation I'm talking about is the kind of talk that happens at the dinner table, or when you're walking your dog with your child, or when you're traveling together in a car or in a train. What kind of conversation can you have that will impact a child's development of abstract and more conceptual thinking? Number one, tell stories. Stories about when you were their age. Talk about the antics that you used to get up to. Stories involving their aunties and uncles and grandparents. Or tell stories about them when they were toddlers or younger. Kids like nothing better than to listen to stories in which they feature. So when you brought them home from the hospital for the first time, or you can tell stories that are inspired by photographs. Old photographs are great for this, but you can literally pick up your phone, swipe through the photos, and pick a particularly provocative image that has a story attached to it and use that. Better yet, if you can get grandma and grandpa to Skype in or Zoom in regularly and tell stories, real stories from your childhood or your past or your family history, especially if grandma and grandpa's language is full of idioms and proverbs and metaphors and the kind of colloquial expression that you don't hear, that kids don't hear in their everyday conversation, that is super valuable. Now, when a child listens to a story, the kind of work that's happening in the head, if you did a functional MRI, you'd see that multiple parts of the brain light up when children or anybody listens to a story. And these are not just the parts of the brain that are connected with language processing. All kinds of neural connections happen when you listen to a story, because what it requires is putting yourself into the shoes of somebody else, another time, another place, seeing the world through another perspective. Nothing is better for the imagination. And the payoffs when they're studying narrative structure in stories at school is huge. Second, watch movies and cartoons with your child. I'm not even kidding. Watch movies that your children would love to watch and analyze the characters and the plot twists together. So for example, saying something like, "Oh, that Dory, she's so funny. Isn't it crazy how she forgets everything just 2 seconds after it happened? I think she has short-term memory. Maybe she has amnesia." Or something like, I wish the ending had been and possibly think of a different way the story could have gone. That kind of conversation in which you're analyzing characters or character relationships, or where you're analyzing plot twists, or even the way a story ended. Huge payoffs for book discussions at school. Third, let your child participate in important, meaningful, everyday decisions. So for example, if you're thinking, where do we go for dinner tonight? Or where might we go for vacation? Or even, what brand of cereal should I get because it has less processed sugar? Get your child to do that research for you. Literally say, so check for the Yelp reviews. Or can you pull up this restaurant's menu and let's compare the prices of this pizza place to this pizza place. There are tons of reviews for every restaurant, every vacation spot, every conceivable product that you could possibly buy online, there are customer reviews for. So having your child read a couple of those reviews out and saying, let's compare the reviews and decide which product do we finally buy. Those are the kinds of decisions that you want to get your child involved in. Now, analyze the kind of conversations that you and your child have, and try to remind yourself to have more of these storytelling and decision-making and concept-building conversations wherever you can squeeze them into your day.